Chapter 9.
Ready to go?
Mathias blinked. Erin hovered in front of his desk, a book dangling from one hand. Her bloodshot eyes were less sunken, and she gave him a dimpled smile. The clock on the wall read 11:05, 4.5 hours. He rubbed his eyes with the palms of his hands. All that time digging through reports, and he still had no leads. It's a little early for lunch, isn't it? Not that he minded. His stomach clenched at the thought of another hour staring at reports while he waited for Gomez's team to call. Erin gestured to his computer.
Haven't you checked your email? Gomez scheduled an all-hands meeting for noon. Pop said he'll meet us at the taco truck down the street in 10 minutes.
He slapped the folder closed and returned it to the stack on his desk. All hands? I wonder if they found something. If they had, Gomez might beat him to the kidnapper. The demon's snarls reverberated inside his skull. He needed to get there first. He stood and put on his sunglasses. I'm ready. Let's go see your grandpa. She fell into step beside him. Her heart was racing. Mathias looked at her over the top of his glasses. You okay?
Me? Yeah, why?
She licked her lips, avoiding his eyes.
You know, we've worked together for years, and this is the first time we've gone out together.
Her ears reddened.
I mean, it's the first time we're hanging out, outside of work.
A nervous laugh escaped her lips.
Sorry, just ignore me. I'm having an off day.
She pushed the door to the lab open and darted toward the elevator, clutching her book to her chest. The sweetness of her blood mingled with another scent. Perfume? Mathias gave his head a sharp shake. Not something he should pay attention to right now. Apparently they were both having an off day. The door to the elevator slid open and Erin scooted inside. The demon perked up. Mathias gave it a mental slap. Off limits. Everyone at the precinct was, always had been. He gritted his teeth and stepped into the elevator. The creature was getting out of hand. He pressed the lobby button and leaned against the wall farthest from Erin. Did you tell your grandfather why I was coming?
No, I didn't know what I could tell him.
Good. The tiny box lurched upward. Horrible contraption. The less we tell him, the better. I just want to find Jerome.
You?
Erin's voice sharpened.
You're not a detective, Matt. If you get in the way, Gomez will bite your head off.
Mathias's nostrils flared. Gomez was more in the way than not. He met Erin's gaze with a firm one of his own. Yeah, I know. I'll watch my step, but this one is personal. For me. The elevator shuddered to a stop, and the door opened. Mathias motioned for Erin to exit. She stared at him, a crease between her eyebrows, then turned and walked into the lobby. Mathias breathed out and followed. She'd chosen not to pry, as usual. Trusting him was a bad idea, but he wouldn't argue in this case. The marble-tiled lobby thronged with civilians, some seated on hard wooden benches along the wall, others forming a line that snaked out the front door and down the stairs. Two harried-looking officers at the front desk juggled phones and paperwork. Erin jerked to a halt, blinking at the chaos.
Wow. I guess this is what happens when the whole precinct is tied up with a manhunt. Glad I work in the basement.
What's that? Mathias pointed to a cluster of folding chairs and tables in one corner. A dozen people held phones to their ears and scribbled on pads of paper.
The tip line?
Erin chuckled.
You really don't read your email, do you? Waterman Inc. encouraged a bunch of employees to volunteer. They get 4 hours community service credit from the company for answering phones.
Mathias folded his arms, lips pursed. Despite the source, it wasn't a bad idea. A witness could make up for the lack of evidence. He'd find a way to read their call logs later.
Come on, we don't want to be late.
Erin disappeared into the crowd in the direction of the entryway. Mathias caught up to her on the front stairs as someone jostled her. The book fell from her arms and slapped onto the broad step. Mathias retrieved it. He turned it over in his hands before returning it to her. Natural History and the Spectrum of Diseases. He raised an eyebrow. Should I be worried about catching the plague from Jerome? Erin ducked her head as she accepted the book.
This doesn't have anything to do with the case. I've been reading it on my breaks. My grandpa's going to return it to the library for me.
A bit of light entertainment, eh? Mathias descended the steps, Erin at his side. Nothing like a good pandemic over lunch.
It's totally fascinating.
Erin's eyes sparkled, and she launched into a discourse on microbes. The street bustled with the early lunch crowd. Mathias struggled to focus on her words. The blood scent forced its way into his nostrils. He tightened his jaw. Too bad he couldn't stop breathing. The burning sensation crawled up his sinuses into his eyes.
And did you know that the first vampire myth started with a real blood disease?
A jolt shot through him. Vampire? His hand flew to his glasses and he slid his tongue along his teeth. Everything was fine. She couldn't have seen anything.
Matt?
She tipped her head to the side.
What's wrong? You look paler than usual, and that's saying something.
Mathias swallowed. I'm fine. Lack of sleep. What were you saying? Something about vampires? Her cheeks flushed.
I know. I'm such a nerd.
She resumed walking.
I've always been fascinated with paranormal stuff. I think every myth has a factual basis, even if it's only a seed of truth. They had to start somewhere, right?
So she hadn't seen anything. He adjusted his glasses again, fingers tingling. Normal conversation, nothing more.
What do you think?
Her gaze pierced his dark glasses to his soul, however much he still had.
Do you believe in the supernatural?
He forced a chuckle. You mean ghosts and monsters? She laughed.
Hearing you say it makes me realize how crazy I sound.
Erin stood on her toes, craning her head to look over the field of people gathering around the taco truck.
Oh, there he is.
She grabbed Mathias's wrist. He whipped his arm out of her grasp and she drew back, mouth falling open. His stomach dropped. I don't like to be touched. Erin cleared her throat.
Sorry, I shouldn't have surprised you like that.
She pointed.
He's over there.
He stuffed his hands in his pockets and followed her through the crowd. The sooner he spoke with Erin's grandfather, the sooner he could get back to his quiet office.